Former Army interpreter Hamid Rashed had been living in the U.S. for 5 years since being evacuated from Afghanistan. But something inside him still felt unfinished. He'd helped American soldiers bridge languages, cultures, and hearts during the war, especially one man, Captain Ryan Miller. Ryan had once promised Hamid that if he ever made it to America, he'd help him build a new life. But 2 weeks before the end of their deployment, Ryan was killed by an IED. Hamid had survived because Ryan had pushed him out of the blast. Now, years later, Hamid was working as a delivery driver in Virginia. One afternoon, he stopped at a quiet suburban home. A woman opened the door, a toddler on her hip. Behind her on the wall hung a photo of Captain Ryan Miller in dress uniform. Hamid froze. "I'm sorry," he stammered. "That soldier—" "I knew him." The woman, Emily, Ryan's widow, invited him inside. Over tea, Hamid shared stories she'd never heard. How Ryan had learned Pashto to make local children laugh. How he'd spent his own money to buy school supplies. How he'd risked everything to protect both soldiers and civilians. Tears filled Emily's eyes as she listened, finally hearing the full story of her husband's heart. Then Hamid whispered the truth. "He saved me. Ryan pushed me away from the blast. He gave me my life." Emily took his hands. "Then maybe you can explain this," she said softly. "Ryan left a letter for our son to open on his 5th birthday. In it, he wrote that if we ever met someone named Hamid, we should trust him completely. Because he's family." Hamid was speechless. He'd had no idea this was Ryan's home, just another stop on his route. But somehow, fate had brought him here. Ryan's letter also said that Hamid should be his son's godfather. And from that day forward, he was. Over the months, Hamid became part of their lives, teaching Ryan Jr. about Afghan culture, about his father's courage, about what it means to serve with honor. On the boy's 5th birthday, they stood together at Arlington National Cemetery. Hamid placed his hand on Ryan's grave and said, in both English and Pashto, "I will live the life you gave me with purpose. I will teach your son to build bridges, not walls." Emily added softly, "And we'll make sure the world remembers. Americans and Afghans stood together, fought together, and saved each other." Now Hamid speaks at schools and veteran events, carrying 2 photos in his wallet, one of Captain Ryan Miller and one of Ryan Jr., side by side. A reminder that some debts of honor cross nations, cultures, and even death.